Look, maybe different worlds, different classrooms. Supposing I'm of a violent, conquering sort of individual, there's not that much scope for that in the world as it is at the minute. You can have a few astonishing dictators like Stalin or Hitler and so on, but really they belong to they should be in a, dare I say, a lower classroom, one where war and dominance is experienced to the full, not just being the successful victor, but the victim as well, so that one has a temporary experience in a classroom of the consequences of this sort of value system, and come to appreciate that this is not what you value. It's horrendous. There must be something better. So this sort of argues a case that there's a place for other classrooms than our own, perhaps higher, perhaps lower. This is not so much a question of, say, envisaging some reincarnation theory in our own world, but in different dimensions or different worlds, according to what lesson we need to go through to achieve the values that are going to ultimately give us eternal life instead of disaster, endless disaster. Temporary disaster is better than endless disaster. So the classroom's available for such. Tricky sort of theory, isn't it? But I'll leave that with you. Well, I think all I'm saying is if there are lower worlds or dimensions of less godliness, more evil than good, than, say, is in this classroom, this world, this universe even, then that gives some sort of understanding as to why it would still be right, could be, in that it's perhaps necessary to, the lesson is necessary, temporary lesson of hell, if you like, rather than experiencing and causing eternal suffering. You come to learn the inconsistency of such a value, you see, that it's contrary to life and therefore it's to damnation and if you like, to death, to your own death, to eternal death. And you don't want that. So you rise out of the mire, possibly into a world like our own for more refined lessons. And perhaps we go on to heavens of more refined still, a whole series of such. Certainly that's the Paramhansa view. You know, his guru's on Hiranyoka, is it, whatever it's called, pronounced? And it's a higher world of, and I think it's an astral world, that's right. And he's helping astral beings get into a higher world still, called the causal world. It's something of that sort of theory, isn't it? do we? It's a sort of biyrowd in a way. A sophisticated biyrowd. But we don't need to know that to progress in leaps and bounds in the world we're in, the life we're living. We come back to the Buddha's view as opposed perhaps to Buddhism, but we come back to the Buddhist view, Buddha's view, that you don't have time for all this philosophizing, just get on with it. Time could be short. Except I'm not applying it to his lack, well, I'm not sure if the Buddha had a lack of God view, but I'm applying this now to a God view. Look, if you want a God view, have a God view and get on with it. Trust him. See if it works. You won't need to worry about the philosophy, which is right and which is wrong. If it works, find out, taste and see. Is trusting in God being your heavenly dad a successful option? Try it. Do you find your life getting happier? More synchronicities, something of the miraculous even, a loveliness. Well, you'll know the way to go then, won't you? Whatsoever's good and lovely, think on these things. And bear in mind that you're holding that God is your heavenly dad, that he loves you, and you love him. How do you know you love him? Because you want to love him. There's no way you'd want to love him if you didn't love him already. Bless you. Thank you, Dad.